You know how Steppin. We're Marcus J. We're back. Thank y'all, everybody, for being here, being part of the show tonight. We appreciate it. 804-402-2893 is the number to dial to be a part of the discussion. So we appreciate it. Thank y'all for listening to us on TuneIn. Thank you to everybody that's listening to our replays right now on YouTube, and we appreciate the love that we getting. And we're going to rapid fire some what the hell here. We're going to go through a bunch of stuff. I got about 5 or 6 stories that I want to get to in the next 20 or 30 minutes, get everybody's opinion on, and get the hell on up out of here. The first thing that I want to get into is Bill Cosby. You mentioned Bill Cosby, that we would talk about him. So this is we'll get into something real quick, but Ruben, I want you on this one first. He said that the black media should remain neutral. Bill Cosby said that. We also heard that his wife came out this week and said that he's a different man that's being portrayed in the media last couple of months, and a portrait of a man that she does not know. She continued on her statement saying that there appears to be no vetting of my husband's accusers before stories are published or aired. An accusation is published and immediately goes viral. So basically, you got Bill saying that black folks should defend him, and we know Camille just came out and did just that. What do you think, Big Rope?
I mean, you know, here's my thing. If they bunch of lies, then you either, you know, charge people with some stuff, or you go ahead and stick your lawyers on them. One of the two. Because if they are lies, they're destroying your reputation. And if they're destroying your reputation, that is a suable offense. Mm-hmm. The fact that he hasn't tried to sue anybody, I'm not saying dude's guilty. But it's just one of those things, like when his wife came out, when they didn't vet anybody, yada, yada, yada. Well, I mean, you know, it's one of those things where your husband ain't said shit. Your husband need to speak up. I ain't do it.
Hakeem said he playing a race card. Let's repeat. What you think, Bill Cosby?
I feel like a lot of people, of course, we go on how we feel and feel like, okay, if something is being said about you, then you need to speak up right then and there. But sometimes it is, regardless of the situation being as bad as it is, sometimes it's good to keep quiet for right now, because until you have all your ducks in a row, anything that he may say, we already know that they can turn it around. Now, it's just one thing that I've noticed and I've realized and I've researched that, again, this Bill Cosby stuff has been out for a long time. I'm not ashamed to say, but a friend of mine watches the animation Black Dynamite. I don't know if a lot of you heard of that.
Yep.
But also in animation, when you make these characters and things, it takes a long time. It takes quite a while. So a lot of these people who do these cartoons, you know, it's not something that they did last month and they can go ahead and premiere it the next month after. It takes at least about 2 years. So you have to figure out. I just watched an episode of Black Dynamite, and it was of Bill Cosby in this situation, showing like the different drugs that he had by his phone and by the stage and things like that. So given how, again, this had to have been created within or taken time over a 2-year time frame, it's been out there for a while. But now, again, it's just coming to the forefront. Now, about black people supporting him and him saying that much, I feel like because it's less of us that have come out, that's really the supporters that he's looking for. I don't know if I feel like if it was 5 black women, 5 white women, would he be saying the same thing? But it looks like it's more of the white women against him, so he's really looking to his, I guess, black family. I feel like that the black people are not going to do as much because we're just as skeptical as the white people. So unfortunately, some of us who even say that we have Bill Cosby back, we still have our eyebrows raised. So I'm pretty sure we'll continue to support him the ways that we can without crushing him any more than he's been crushed. But I myself worry about his mindset because, again, everything that he's having thrown to them, and these are some pretty serious allegations, to still be standing, still be walking around in public, still be making even the little comments that he is. Because I still looked at some of our older people that I grew up watching who have committed suicide behind things that we didn't even know anything about, i.e. Don Cornelius. I still don't know to this day what happened or what made an, I guess, almost 80-year-old man, take his life. even though I know things go on where people have situations, but like I said, I just worry for Bill Cosby. I pray for him. Of course, we all know things that we do in the dark eventually comes to light, whether it be 2 days, 2 months, or 20 years. So I just hope things go the way that they should.
Ced's listening, Lissa P, and he agrees with you on Black Dynamite. He said it's the truth. And so for you to make that reference, especially,
Sid.
yeah, especially connecting it to something that happened with Bill Cosby going on now, and it being, you know, the past when those stories were obviously written and created, that's definitely a good connection. That's why. What's your thoughts?
Well, you know, this has been going on for years and years and years. Somebody comes out of the woodworks and said he did something. I think by now he honestly should have had his ducks in a row. I think by now he should have had something put together if he was innocent. You know, the same thing he would have had put together years ago for the first person who said it would be the same thing that would work for him now if he was innocent. And by not saying anything, I mean, not a word to come to your own defense, I feel kind of shady about it. And I think that, you know, some of these things, they're so old that if you allowed him, you, the next girl, and the next girl, and the next girl, you allowed him to do those things, and you never said anything, you went ahead and you allowed him to become the Bill Cosby that he is without putting it out there. Whoever did it to you, put him out there.
Right.
You know, don't wait 15 years, 20 years, and 40 years down the line to say, oh, Bill Cosby did X, Y, Z to me.
So in theory,
It makes you look stupid.
So in theory, you know, for lack of a better term, there's a little bit of blood on their hands. Big, real quick.
I just think that if these allegations are true, then they're true. I hope that, like, don't get me wrong, I want them to be false, but I feel for those people who really get, you know, sexually assaulted, you know, stuff like this. If this is not legitimate, this is going to keep those people from never talking about it.
Right.
So that's what I really, it's not even, for me, it's not even about Bill Cosby or black people need to stand up for me. What it is if you did it, you just need to man up and deal with it. If you didn't do it and these people are lying, that is like the worst crap ever, and they should be held accountable for that.
No, I can dig it. Ain't no hashtag with Marcus J. We know that there's no charges. There won't be any. The statute of limitations expired on all of these allegations. So the only thing on the line right now for Bill Cosby is his reputation. I'm on record as saying when there's smoke, there's usually fire. With this many allegations, I personally find it hard to believe that he hadn't done something. But I'm not his judge and I'm not his jury, so I'm not going to say, oh, Bill Cosby, you're a bad man, when, you know, we got allegations, but I have yet to see any proof of anything. I just have it. I personally find it hard to believe that you can get this many people to tell these stories similarly and have there not be some sort of connection. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. We're going to move. We're going to keep this going pretty quick. Actually, we're getting a hit in social media. Let me get this comment in real quick. G is checking in. G says things were different back then. Women were not comfortable talking about this, especially with a man that everyone loves. That's actually a very good point that I hadn't considered. But and I'm not a woman. I've never been assaulted as a man, so I can't really speak to what it's like to have the kind of fear that would keep you from saying anything. I personally, and this is just one man's opinion, I find it difficult to have something happen to me and me not say something.
Exactly.
That's just me, you know, but I'm not in a position to judge the people who didn't say anything.
Marcus J., can I just say something really
Sure.
quick? I think a couple of these things is you start talking when the money runs out. I'm not going to put anything to take away from these women if they did go through this. But again, a lot of these, and, you know, hey, this is comedian, this Lissa P, so charge me whichever way you may. These are white women, and I'm pretty sure back in the day, some of these white women still had white money, you know, especially to be in somewhere of the circle or square of Mr. Bill Cosby. They were somewhere in some rich form, silver spoon handed to them whatever models upcoming. Janice Dickinson, oh my God, look at her, how reliable is her? But like I said, I'm not going to take it away from that, because she very well may be telling the truth. I think one that struck me is when recently Miss Beverly Johnson just come out, another African American model who recently came out as well and said that excuse me, is it Beverly Johnson, did I say that? Yeah. And reading that her article that she put out in Vanity Fair, she basically said that she had, back in the day, had went to have dinner or lunch with him or what have you. He made her very comfortable, and basically she wanted to do a read for him, or at that time she was auditioning for a part on the Cosby Show. Now, as I'm reading this and she's going through everything, you know, she says she weighed the options of why, or if she should even come out or talk about it, because it's been so long ago. But then she said, you know, why keep it in? You know, other people have come out, so why not go ahead and be honest and tell her story as well, being that she knows she has nothing to gain. But I think what struck me as I'm reading this article is, didn't she appear on an episode of the Cosby Show?
You talking about Beverly or Janice?
Beverly.
Probably.
She may have probably.
I feel like, so then, and also with that, if you were sexually assaulted before you even appeared on a show that you were reading for, why would you appear?
Right.
You know, so.
Well, there is a story about Michelle Hurd. A lot of people may not know the name, but if you watch.
I kind of believed her story.
Michelle Hurd.
From Law and Order?
Yeah. She basically said that when she was reading for Law and Order, for the Cosby Show, she was having table reads with Bill Cosby, and he would say stuff like, come to the crib, we want to do something special with your hair and whatnot, and you know, take a shower so we can get your hair good and wet, and then we can try to do some stuff with your hair. And she said that there were other prominent female actresses who were coming up at the time who you would definitely know who they are today, but it ain't her story to tell their story, so she ain't gonna call them out. But they had the same stuff happen to them. Does that pretty much how you heard the story?
Yes.
So we get a hit from Hakeem, says if it was dude down the block, we would have been asking. We would have been asking for his head. If it was himself being Hakeem, folks who know me would say he's guilty with there being so many accusations. We know Bill. We don't know Bill. We know Heathcliff Huxtable. So I can dig that. Ain't no hashtag on Marcus Jack. We can move on from Bill. Rapid fire some of these real quick. KKK. We're gonna talk about them, and I'm getting this story SY from
the Huffington Post.
KKK leader says. Wow, okay. KKK leader says, quote, we don't hate people because of their race. I mean, we're a Christian organization. Because of the acts of a few rogue Klansmen, all Klansmen are supposed to be murderers and wanting to lynch black people, and we're supposed to be terrorists. That's a complete falsehood. That's why you up first. What you got?
Okay, stop punking me. Is that one of your what the hells?
Yes, everything is a what the hell. What you think?
Quite bullshit.
Think
That's
so?
some serious bullshit detection going on right now. Please, this goes back to the story probably that we had, 2 weeks or so ago when they were trying to get us to join the KKK?
Yeah. Yep.
So here goes a little story that's coming right behind it, trying to brainwash some fool so they can go ahead and get themselves.
They're attaching Christianity to
That
the
just
most
needs to stop.
notorious.
That just needs to stop right
they're
there.
attaching Christianity to the most notorious hate group,
That needs to
terrorist
stop.
group in the history of the United States.
That
Big
needs to
Roo, what you
stop.
think about it?
You know, I saw this and stupid. It's stupid, and the fact that someone would even say that is even like, oh God, I can't believe the stupidity that just was brought up in that. Really, yeah, you're about Christianity, man.
Disagree with you.
I can't even talk about it.
I just feel like, you know, people will say things to always make whatever they are doing look all right. So, hey, if that's what they said, then hey.
I like to compare this. I like to compare this to how our country, which we know is a Protestant, Catholic, Christian country, by numbers. I just like to show y'all the honest people, the reasonable people. You see how crazy this sounds. You know, when you assume that all Muslims are the people that hijack planes and fly them into buildings. Most Muslims are law-abiding citizens. And so as crazy as you sound when you are a KKK member and you say we're a Christian organization, you just as crazy when you putting every single Muslim on the planet in the same broad, painting them with the same broad brush as Osama bin Laden and some of the other cats. Hakeem is saying that the KKK were founded as a white supremacist organization based on Christian values and foundations, which is in fact true. But if you study Christianity, I don't think there's any way that any logical person would assume that they represent the Christian faith. I am not a Christian. I am not a religious person. I choose not to subscribe to one. But I can't imagine that any honest, God-fearing Christian person wants to align themselves with the Ku Klux Klan. If you do, then hey, I don't know. I don't think it takes a Christian to tell you that Jesus wasn't down for that. So, if you think he was, then so be it. But then at the same time, we also know that while the supremacists and lynchers was lynching, people during the days of slavery, they were saying, "Oh Lord, let's lynch this N-word," while we were saying, "Oh Lord, please deliver me from this tree." So, you pick and choose how you want to take that comment. Hakeem says that that's what religion allows us to do, justify anything, read the Bible. There's no problem with segregation in there. He's speaking to your comment there, Lissa P. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Keeping it moving. This next one annoyed the hell out of me. I'm getting this one from the rawstory.com. It's from Pennsylvania. A man was shocked over the weekend when a bartender used the N-word instead of his name on the receipt for his food. Marquise Moore told the Patriot News that he was about to eat an order of takeout wings from Zimby Sports Tavern in Harrisburg when he noticed a racial slur in the space where his name was supposed to appear on the bar tab. The word N-word with the A, which to me there's no different, but that's what it was written. Quote, "It makes me feel like I'm low. An N-word is an ignorant, disrespectful person. It has nothing to do with your skin color. What would possess you to put something like that on a piece of paper? You don't even know who I am." According to the owner, the word was meant as a lighthearted joke, but was misunderstood by Moore. Bartender Megan Bonzal says that the boss told Moore was busy talking to people at the bar, so she asked a friend for his name. The friend allegedly showed Moore's Facebook page to Bonzal, where he describes himself as a sexy N-word. She said that she wrote down N-word on the ticket as a joke. So there's more, but I think we've got it sufficiently set up. Let's P, you up first.
This is comedian Lissa P, and I just want to let everybody know that we're still marching to let people realize that Black Lives Matter. That's all I have to say.
Big Group?
Ignorance, pure ignorance.
That's why?
All I can say is fist print in your face.
Here's the deal, though. I'm going to take a different direction on it. This is a prime example of why black people using that word for themselves is just the dumbest thing in the world that you can do. Because his friend went on the Facebook page to pull out his page to show, and this is what he described himself as. So now all of a sudden somebody called you that and you got a problem. You either okay with it or you not. All of this, black people can call me that, but white folk can't. I mean, I get that. I am a black man. I kind of get it, but it's stupid to me.
And let me just elaborate a little bit on what my response meant was the fact of respect. We're still marching for respect. So therefore, if you're not going to respect yourself, then don't respect it elsewhere. So again, this comedian is Lissa P, and we're still to this day, 2014, marching to let people know that Black Lives Matter.
Yep. I mean, we was in DC 2 days ago, doing just what you just said, let's be marching to let folks know that Black Lives Matter, and he gonna put, sexy N-word on his Facebook page, and then somebody actually calls him that, he has a problem. Now, I think she was dead wrong, personally. You know what I mean? But at the same time, what do you expect? That's what you wrote, so it is what it is. Excuse me, ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. The next couple of stories we're gonna get into will involve the police and some of the bullshit they do. I don't want to say it like that. Let me walk that back, because we know we all need police. But we know that there's a lot going on in the news right now about some of the improprieties of some of these rogue officers. And so when I say the bullshit they do, these stories will make you understand why I would say that. I'm getting this one from Counter Current News. These police, this is the mother of an 8-year-old Native American girl. They're suing these police who maintain that they were justified in using a taser on their child. This is outside of Pierre, South Dakota. They belong to the Rosebud Sioux community. 4 police officers decided the young girl who had a small paring knife was, quote, a danger to herself, requiring them to tase her. Mother says the officers should have used nonviolent means to neutralize the threat they believe the 70-pound girl posed. Again, more to it, but I really want to kind of get the highlights out, and then we round table. The big review up first. Police, 4 of them, in fact, had a little girl, 70-pound, 8-year-old little girl with a little tiny knife. And instead of just overpowering her, distracting her, knocking it out of her hand, using some other form of training to remove the knife from her hand, they chose to tase her. What you think, man?
I think that some people are stupider and stupider every day. A 7-year-old?
Taser.
Yeah, a 7-year-old who had a knife who wasn't doing really anything, And then at that point in time, you sitting here, you telling me you're a grown-ass man and you can't overpower a 7-year-old girl by hand? 4.
Four cops can't take down an 8-year-old.
Yeah. I think if they can't take down an 8-year-old by their last resort was to tase her, I think they need to really look at their police training, because I don't care who you are. 8-year-old, I don't care if you get, man, the only thing that may even slowly stop me would be a gun. And then at that point in time, I'll probably just walk away and be like, have at it. There's no way you can sit here with a knife, a paring knife, you can't overpower an 8-year-old girl. You just, that's ignorant to me. And the fact that this even happened, it shouldn't be the one who did it. All 4 of them are stupid. So all 4 of them need to go.
Let's see what you think.
Well, again, this is comedian that's Lissa P. And let's put it all together. Seriously, not even being funny. I can't breathe. Rest in peace, Mr. Eric Garner. You know what I'm saying? So the men who decided to take his life overpowered him, knowing he was already, look, I don't have anything. It's 4 of y'all, 5 of y'all, 6 of y'all against me. You're trying to use your badges for whatever, for show. We know a lot of people who use their titles in the worst ways more than they should be good. So again, with these people who overpowered this little girl, of course, we already know punk and coward, they're already thrown out the window for that. But really, you were just trying to use your new equipment that you just received, whether it be your new taser gun, your new pepper spray that you received, or what have you. So I'm pretty sure when this verdict comes out that none of these men will be convicted of anything. We'll see how that feels. Now, was this an African-American girl?
It was a Native American girl.
Yeah, well, she is, yeah. No conviction.
Yeah, they even lower on the totem pole than we are.
Yeah, no conviction. So again, rest in peace, Mr. Eric Garner.
That's why. What you think? They tased the 8-year-old.
I just think it's absolutely stupid, and honestly, they need to be fired.
Yeah.
It's a little girl,
Right.
a little girl with a little paring knife, and it took 4 of you to decide we need to tase her.
Right. You know what I find? I find a lot of my police friendly brothers and sisters are taking a very strong offense to people like me and others who are pointing out some of the improprieties of the police officers. And while I understand that, these are the same people who will tell you that instead of wearing I Can't Breathe t-shirts, that we should be wearing Be a Better Father t-shirt. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Bill O'Reilly, and I'm talking to you, Geraldo Rivera, and people like you. There's a place for that conversation. There's absolutely a place for that conversation. But when I'm speaking to what you're doing wrong, don't try to deflect me showing you the error of your ways by telling me what I'm doing wrong. Let's talk about what you did. Let's talk about the fact that you got police killing civilians unarmed. You got police handcuffing children. You got police beating up pregnant women. You got police beating up grandparents. You got police tasing little girls. It happens. And don't give me this, well, they're on edge and they're fearful because of what they're seeing in the street. You're supposed to be the one that's trained. And you're also a human being and a person. And so just because you have a badge and a gun does not give you carte blanche to treat people any way you want. If you kill somebody in the line of duty, or if you wound someone like they did, obviously, this young girl, the fact that you're a sworn officer, to me, gives you more responsibility and not less. If you make the wrong decisions, you need to pay for it. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. This police officer, this next police officer is being investigated, San Jose. He put some tweets out there, some interesting tweets. Quote, "Threaten me or my family and I will use my God-given and law-appointed duty to kill you. Cops' lives matter," is the tweet. He is continuing on. He said some more stuff. He obviously is referencing the Black Lives Matter and things of that sort. In another tweet, noted the heavy rains and flooding Northern California have been having recently. Nothing like some torrential rain and wind to quell a protest. Let's see how important this really is to them when they are drenched. Sounds like a pretty insensitive police officer here. Big Rule, what do you think about the mentality? Not so much this individual, because you got to figure that this guy is, I mean, he's not going to speak for all the black people, just like Al Sharpton, all police officers, just like Al Sharpton don't speak for all black people. But I do think that it speaks to a mindset that some of them have. What do you think about that? What do you think of my analysis of that?
I think that there are some law enforcement who are certifiably crazy, and they don't need to be on the street. I think that just like we had the conversation about a month ago about the young lady from New York who did a Throwback Thursday tweet and got her fired. I mean, to me, this is the same type of deal, except that, basically you just can't be like, I'm going to give my God-given ability and power to go and kill. Really? So you basically coming out the gate trying to kill people. Yeah, mentally, you're done. I mean, there's no question. If she can get fired just for not telling the truth on her application, this dude needs to get fired for somehow beating your mental health test. Right. Because he clearly has issues. And if they do nothing, once again, you have a situation where it's just, it's crazy. They need to go ahead and remove his badge and gun until they can sit there and really go through the mental and see if you need it back. And I don't think he needs it back.
He's under investigation right now. That's why we think.
Yeah, I was going to say somebody should be looking into his mental stability for him to post those tweets.
Well, I mean, Big Ruben made the phrase, I don't know if other folks had said it, but the first time I had ever heard the phrase text message gangsters, when you said it, and that's exactly what this kind of stuff is. Listen, Pete, when you see something like this, what do you think?
I feel like the first thing that he is going to have in his defense, or what he's going to say, it's going to be freedom of speech. So he can tweet, say whatever he wants to. Even if you come back with a mental investigation background, what have you, and it comes out squeaky clean, then what? So also too, if he is a police officer, is he Marcus J? I think I missed up.
Yes. Yes.
I probably feel, which a lot of these police officers are going through right now, they're getting threats. So I'm pretty sure wherever they walk, even if it's in a quiet neighborhood, they're getting somebody rolling past them saying F the police or some way, shape, or form. No, it's not right what he said, but I feel like he has some also underlying anger that's going on. So now that his police brothers are going through all of these things, then he feels like that he needs to speak up, whether it be in the negative way against the black or the in-groves. Then he's saying what he feels. So even though, again, you do all this research, background, mental checks, or what have you, he comes out squeaky clean, nothing wrong with him, then what? He still can say what he wants to say.
Well, see, and that's where I differ. I feel like that. I think the statement something's been made. What, freedom of speech ain't free, and in certain jobs, you don't have freedom of speech.
I feel like if they linked up, Ruben, all of the people who said something against our president since he raised his hand to get sworn in, half the people, first of all, there would be no people in the White House. There would be no people in the Capitol. There would be no people anywhere, because all of those people have said something out of their faces that we all felt like was damn right. You should not be able to say that or what you want to say, but they can, and they do, and they still have to.
And that's very true, and that's called treason. And it's just the situation. I guess my thing is, even in my job, don't get me wrong, I have opinions upon days. However, there are certain things I just can't put on paper or put on, or even the radio or even on Twitter. I just can't do that. And if anything, anybody who I have to pay, because if you work for the public and you're a public servant, take that term how you feel, I pay for you. Mm-hmm. This is unacceptable, and that should be they should have rules against that, and most jobs do. Mm-hmm. And I would not be shocked if they do. Especially in California. You best believe they have a social media rule, and I would not be shocked I think something will happen. Question is, I don't know what. I just think that you can feel any way you want. When you start putting that stuff on paper, or you start sitting there and just basically telling everybody, F the police, right to the cop's face, stuff like that, you have just completely given your freedom away.
Okay, so basically, I'm going to get convicted for sending out a tweet, but you're not going to get convicted for choking me out.
Basically.
That's how it works?
That's a very good. That's
That's
exactly what I was getting ready to say.
Well, and you're right. And to be perfectly honest with you, he should have been convicted. Now, why he wasn't, I can't answer that.
The rules. There was a story that I was going to do. We ran out of time because there's one that trumped it. But the short version is there was a story of a white male who was killed unarmed by the police. His father, and I alluded to this a little bit last week, his father was a retired general in the Army or whatever it was he was. They had a lot of clout. Long story short, they ended up getting laws passed in, I believe it's Minnesota or Wisconsin, somewhere up there in the North Central, where the police now need to be or have to be investigated by authorities outside of their department independently. And so there are ways, if you have certain amounts of clout, that these things can get done. Unfortunately, their story for an unarmed white person took 10 years. And he said, when I saw him in an interview, he was like, yo, I ain't even know how crazy this was until a black dude came up to me and was like, I know how you feel. That's crazy. Yeah. And that tells you, we feel sensitive because it's mostly us, but it's not 100% black and white. You had a lot of people that attacked, Al Sharpton because he was on, I believe it was Meet the Press or one of the Sunday shows with the widow of Eric Garner. And she said that it's not a black and white issue. It's about police brutality. And, Al got a lot of hits from, a lot of the media because it was like, well, dude, this is what you do. And now since it ain't about race, now what are you going to do? I mean, there's a case. And there's other cases out there. You got to look for them. You really, really got to look for them. But you do find cases where unarmed white people get killed by the police as well. And so it's more about the rogueness of the authorities and less about the color. The color is definitely an issue because, I'm well versed on all the names that I've read in the past of black men and women who have been accosted by rogue police officers, but it's more about them wilding, basically. Ain't no how stepping with Marcus J. I got one last story I want to get to. Listen, you had mentioned a minute ago about F the police. Well, coincidentally, I got a story.
I didn't really mean it, though.
I
like the police.
I want you in on this one first. Also getting this one from Counter Current News. Now, this one is very interesting. Hialeah, Florida police officer Harold Garzon has found himself at the center of 16 internal affairs investigations in 17 years on the force. Now he may be facing a lawsuit on top of all of that. He pulled over Cesar Baldemar, 26 years old, double graduate from Harvard University and current law student. He was busted for the grand crime of playing NWA in his car. Garzon wrongly claimed the state noise ordinance prohibited the law student from playing the song around him after police played 4 times in a row at the intersection. But this is actually, if you know the song, didn't play 4 times in a row. It's actually the chorus to the one song. As he's sitting there next to the cop says, "Really?" and pulls him over. "You really playing that song?" pull over. He obeyed the unlawful command to pull over for the non-crime, but the officer asserted wrongly that, quote, it's illegal to play loud music within 25 feet of another person. You believe this stuff? If you don't know what you're talking about or you don't know what you're hearing, you might fall for this bullshit. So basically, Baltimore, he knows better, citing the law. He said in 2012, the state Supreme Court struck down any law banning loud music. I knew that because it was a case I had actually studied in law school. Of course, Garzon erupted and demanded proof of his insurance because he got put on the spot. He wasn't very happy about it. So Baltimore complied, showing proof of insurance from an image from his smartphone. It's got to be paper, the officer demanded. He was wrong because the law changed last year in Florida, making photos of insurance perfectly acceptable. I'm educated, I know my rights, and I speak English, so I can fight this. This is what Baltimore said, suggesting that he will follow up with legal action against the officer or his department. But what about when this happens to someone who's not so lucky? Policing has to change in this country. Listen, you up first. What you got?
I feel like that it was shout out to the guy who knew all his laws, had all his ducks in a row, because I thought that was very cool, and big ups to him again. Of course, right. So we would only hope that the one who did not know their rights, but unfortunately got taken in because either the police officer would have gave him the summons for the loud music or what have you, that person would have showed up to court. Now, hopefully, the judge would have been like, okay, we already know the laws changed, so we're going to throw this out. Unless they were going to get, dicked by the court system. Of course, the police felt some type of way when you guys showed up. That's just like how our parents felt if they tried to correct us and we knew the truth. We'd be like, no, Mom, Dad, no, that's not right. And they'd be like, oh, so you're trying to correct me? Right, so I'm lying, even though they know they were wrong. So nobody likes that, especially the police. So, again, I'm glad the student knew his thing. I'm glad he got it taken care of, and I hope that this officer learns his lesson.
That's why. You're up. What you got?
Oh, geez. Yeah, he felt bad because his pride, got damaged. He tried to do something because he didn't like hearing the song, and he tried every which way to figure out how to get this fool and get him into trouble, not realizing he wasn't dealing with a fool. Right. So for 16 or 17?
16 internal affairs investigations and
17 years, he's got issues. Somebody should have looked at that a long time ago. Shouldn't take 17 years to figure this out. And hopefully,
as soon as he got out the academy, he started getting investigated.
He was
messed up before he got in there because he was ready to get on the roll. He was power happy, and that's how he acts. So they need to just go ahead, put him behind the door, throw away the key. That is a real Joker's smile.
Big Rube over there is chomping at the bit to get in. What you got, bro?
Go ahead.
This is why they made the song, just for cops like this guy. When he was playing it, it was perfect because pretty much in the song he talks about getting pulled over by a bad cop, by a cop that's doing some dirt. In the song itself, this is great. This is so great, and I'm glad that he pulled over a Harvard law student because it's like that dude's probably looking at him like, I'm so gonna jack you up, sir. He probably used another word, but he probably left it, probably turned it right back on. He's like, this is why they made the song.
The police racially profiled him when he pulled him. As soon as he saw what ethnicity he was, he automatically knew. First of all, he probably assumed that he couldn't speak English, and then he sure didn't think that he knew the laws.
Oh, this is great! I love this. I need to follow this. I need to follow and see what happens with this. But this is and that's the ironic part of this article, is because literally one verse in a song is talking about getting pulled over by a cop, and how they racially profile you. He did what the song said. It's great, and I hope this guy goes 6 feet under with it.
I can dig it, man. It's funny that you went there because you absolutely stole my thunder. That's exactly what I was going to say, and I'm glad you said it. That song was made in 1988, and the sequel, the second part, was on the EP that came out in 1990.
That's one of my favorite songs.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Especially the court at the end. That's a lie.
Give back my
purse. And the crazy part about it is when you hear songs like, After Police and Cop Killer and other songs like it, instead of being so offended by the song, why not try to understand the mentality of a person who would write a song called F the Police or Cop Killer? I understand that you're offended by that. It makes sense. Any community is going to be offended by what can be perceived as a direct shot to them. However, you're not going to say F the police just because you woke up with an attitude that day. You know what I mean? And so when you pull a dude over just because you ain't like the song, I mean, that's a perfect example to get into the free speech that Lisa P talked about earlier, and all of that kind of stuff. Let's see.
Hilarious.
A hit here in social media. Hakeem says he's alluding to the last story he did. He said we need a special prosecutor throughout the country. I actually definitely agree with that. As far as this F the police situation, I hope they bury this guy. I hope he never sees the light of day, and I hope they strip his badge and his gun from him, and he never again gets to roam the streets to prey on innocent folks. Because 16 internal affairs investigations in 17 years, but he's still on the job.
His dad is the judge.
It's got to be something like that.
Retired
It's got to be
captain,
something like that. I mean, because the truth is, if it was a special prosecutor or a special outside investigations, as Hakeem has alluded to, I can't believe that this guy would still be under force. Ain't no half stepping. Marcus J. live from the den. Legacy Internet Radio. We are, in fact, the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio. We appreciate you listening to us. Check out our new and improved website at www.legacyinternetradio.com. Thank you to everyone listening to us tonight on TuneIn. You traveling in the gym like your man Hakeem like to do, pumping that iron. You got us going on there. You in the car, you pumping us at stop signs. Hopefully the police don't hear Marcus J say anything crazy to get you in no trouble. You listening to us at the crib, you up in the man cave or the lady cave or wherever it is you at, listening to the sound of our voices. Oh, Hakeem says what's up to Big Rube. SY Lissa P saying what's up to the crew.
Hakeem.
So we appreciate everybody. You listening to us on a replay like 6 months from right now on YouTube. We appreciate you too, because if it wasn't for you guys listening to us week after week after week after week, we would have no incentive to come in here and do this. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J. Gonna take our final break of the night. And when we come back, we gonna rant about a whole bunch of crazy stuff. I got Big Rope, I got SY, I got Lissa P, and I got myself. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J. Be back in a few minutes, y'all.